Finally, somebody puts a video on YouTube about Record Store Day 2025. You just can't find any. So anyway, you know Record Store Day is coming up. Save the date. April 12th! Now, before running through the list, I do want to remind you, get in touch with your favorite local independent record store. Some can pre-order a certain amount. Some just receive a certain amount of copies, and that's it. It may only be one. There may be none. Don't wait until April the 11th to decide what you want and figure out how you're going to get it. Some things will be available in quantity for a long time. Other things, good luck. I guess you'll find them on eBay later on and pay a lot of money. Like it says, the website, Record Store Day, does not sell the releases. There is no website where these can be pre-ordered. Go to your participating store near you, contact them directly to find out how they're participating, how they're celebrating Record Store Day on April 12th. Some of these stores will begin selling titles online in their online stores the day after Record Store Day. So, don't give up hope on this stuff. Record Store Day Exclusives. I'm going to start with that category first. Just taking a look. A Day to Remember. They're a hardcore band. I hate to say that they're best known for their cover of the Kelly Clarkson's Since You've Been Gone, but that kind of, in some ways, is what they're best known for. This 50th anniversary edition of Attack of the Killer B-Sides. It's 4 tracks altogether, a 10-inch at 45 RPM on neon orange vinyl. It's an exclusive for Record Store Day 2025. 2,900 copies of Air's Moon Safari live and demos. That's an exclusive. This is 4 extra tracks that were not released on the Diving Deep live album a year or so ago. 2,500 copies. Custard vinyl for the 4-track EP. Rhino's dropping 3,500 copies of the debut album from the B-52s. It's an exclusive picture disc release. Rock Lobster, Planet Claire. Parlophone's dropping 2,500 copies of this Zoetrope version of the Magic Whip from Blur. Their 8th album, Ghost Ship, was on this. Go Out, Lonesome Street. Personally, I think the Zoetrope discs are pretty cool, but then eventually you realize there's something else you can be doing with your time. But they're cool. Ready, Set, Go, live at Riverside Studios 03 from David Bowie. 6,400 copies. It's a 2 LP set from Rhino on 180-gram heavyweight vinyl. It's also on CD. It includes a replica poster of the original event. I have no idea if this album rocks or not, but I thought it was kind of interesting. This is an album from the dude, Jeff Bridges. Slow Magic, 1977 to 1978. It's 1,500 copies on transparent blue vinyl. Every track in this album is something that was previously unreleased. So it really could be a really interesting thing to check out. 1,500 copies of Kemper von Beethoven's Telephone-Free Landslide Victory. This was their debut album. It's available on vinyl for the first time since the 1980s on limited edition clear and orange marbled vinyl. Point number 1, the 1999 debut album from Chicago rock band Chevelle. This album didn't do all that well, but it certainly provided hints of what was to come. 1,800 copies on lemonade and olive color in color vinyl. The Kings of America live at the Royal Albert Hall from Elvis Costello. It's a 2 LP set from Third Man Records, 2,000 copies, a 17-song concert recorded in 1987. It really honestly took me a while to get really, hip to Elvis Costello. Another RSD exclusive, 1,400 copies of More Acoustic Junk from Cowboy Junkies. It features 5 brand new acoustic recordings alongside 5 tracks from the original Acoustic Junk album. 180-gram yellow vinyl. So there's another Cure picture disc. The last Record Store Day event, there was a picture disc at the top, so I guess they're just going to keep sort of going in order from there, I guess. The Head on the Door. Rhino's dropping 8,250 copies. 1,700 copies from Real Gone Music. Puzzle from Dada. If you don't remember much about what this band did or where they did, they had a track called Disneyland. D-I-Z-Z-K-N-E-E. And that came out about the time that all of a sudden the football team started saying, I'm going to Disneyland, after they'd win the Super Bowl. Puzzle from Dada. Ain't It Tragic is the third album, or I should say it was the third album from Dead Sarah, the band that Emily Armstrong used to lead. This was originally released in 2021 on CD and digital. 3,100 copies from Warner Records on an exclusive lemonade yellow color vinyl. It's a 2 LP set from Dokken, Beast from the East. This originally dropped in 1988 during their tour in support of the Back for the Attack album. Alone Again's on here, and My Dreams Walk Away, which was a studio track, actually. It was the one studio track from the album. It's on green and orange vinyl. There's always something from the Doors, right? 7,500 copies of Strange Days 1967, a work in progress. So this is sort of a demo collections album from the Doors. Rhino's dropping 7,500 copies of this on numbered, translucent blue vinyl. You might remember a track on the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack called If You Don't Love Me, I'll by a guy named Pete Droge. This originally dropped on the album Necktie Second. This was released on Rick Rubin's American Records label in May of 1994. Brendan O'Brien produced and mixed the original titles and the studio outtakes. And Pete Droge actually has a new album scheduled to come out at some point in this year. By the way, I don't think that's Pete Droge wearing the tie. I'm pretty sure that's him in the back. BMG's dropping Duran Duran Danse Macabre Deluxe, the bonus tracks. This is the first time that these are available outside of the Danse Macabre Deluxe box set. It's a 12-inch EP. Zoetrope. I'm guessing those little fellas dance around a lot. I'm sure the picture disc on the inside of the packaging is interesting. Sunshine, Lollipops, and Rainbows, the Seattle punk band that broke in 1989. They never really became big, but if you were in, near, or from Seattle, you knew about the Dwarves. 2,200 copies from Greedy Media. Rhino's dropping a picture disc of Fleetwood Mac's self-titled album from 1975. This album sold really well. The Rumors picture disc last year was big. This is the 50th anniversary of this album. Two sides of unique artwork. Landslide, Say You Love Me, Rhiannon, the first album that Fleetwood Mac recorded after Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks had joined the band. Some would say that's really when they became Fleetwood Mac. 2,000 copies from Warner Records of Liam Gallagher's acoustic sessions. 8 tracks altogether on a limited edition color in color, silver and blue vinyl pressing, each copy individually hand-pressed, every copy unique. Between 2 Points was one of the standout tracks from David Gilmour's most recent album, Luck and Strange. Romani Gilmour provides the vocals on this song. There's an exclusive live version of the track as well. 1,200 copies from Legacy on 12-inch vinyl. All Things Must Pass, the classic George Harrison album. 2,300 copies from Dark Horse. This is a Zoetrope pressing. 4 tracks from HIM, a 12-inch picture disc. 3,000 copies from BMG. 2 different versions of Join Me in Death. Also a live version of HIM's cover of Rebel Yell. 5,000 copies from Rhino. Warren Zevon was in this band. A couple of dudes from REM. I can't remember which ones off the top of my head, so there goes my credibility. They cover Raspberry Beret, the Prince track, on this album. This is the first time you'll be able to find this on new vinyl since 1990. It's on 180-gram black vinyl. Rhino's dropping 3,000 copies of the Jayhawks' second album, Blue Earth. It's not been on LP since 1989. This is fresh. It also includes a 7-inch EP with 4 bonus tracks that were never released on vinyl. 2,160 copies of Flux from the Jesus Lizard. 3 songs that were not on their 2024 album, Rack. Look for this on a 12-inch black vinyl pressing. 3,000 copies of Get Born Rarities. B-sides, demos, radio sessions, live and alternate versions from tracks that were on their 2003 debut. Live versions of Cold Hard Bitch and Move On. If you're a Jet fan, you probably want to pick this up. Songs from the Vault 1975 to 1978 from Jethro Tull. It's a 2 LP set from Rhino. Rarities and outtakes from Minstrel in the Gallery, Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die, songs from The Wood and Heavy Horses, most of which have never before been on vinyl. Live in Atlanta 82, a 2 LP set from Judas Priest. This was previously available as a CD as part of the 50 Heavy Metal Years of Music box set. Top of their game, a show recorded at the Omni in December of 1982 on solid red vinyl. If you're not aware of the band Kaleo from Iceland, you really should be. They're so good. This is a reissue of their All the Pretty Girls EP, a 10th anniversary edition of that, All the Pretty Girls, Way Down We Go. You know that song. It's been used in a lot of TV shows and movies. It's on Raspberry Marble vinyl for the first time ever. The Lost Demos from Geddy Lee, that originally was released as part of his audiobook, My Effin' Life, and then was released digitally on Spotify and Apple Music and all that. Now it's finally available on a physical format, 12-inch single. Rhino's dropping 3,500 copies of that. The 2 tracks that were featured, these were songs originally recorded for the My Favorite Headache album, Gone and I Am, You Are. I'm going to make sure I ask the Easter Bunny for this, as I'm sure All the other Rush fans are. It's a 4-track EP, 3,000 copies of John and Yoko, the Plastic Ono Band, Elephant's Memory. Power to the People, live at the 1-to-1 concert in New York City in 1972. By the time you ask the clerk at the record store for that, it's already sold out. It's on 180-gram yellow vinyl. BMG's dropping 1,800 copies of Lookout Live from Johnny Marr. This was recorded in 2024. It was the culmination, the very end of the 2024 Spirit Power Tour. The 40-year repertoire of Johnny Marr is covered here. This Charming Man, How Soon Is Now, There's a Light That Never Goes Out. The newer stuff like Somewhere and Easy Money. It's on orange color vinyl. Nick Mason's Saucer Full of Secrets, Echoes Live. 4,000 copies of this. Echoes Live, Side A. And the B-side is an exclusive etched design. Side A plays in reverse from the center outward. It makes me want to get it, just to watch it on my turntable. Live 1976 from Joni Mitchell. This is a 3-LP set, limited to 3,600 copies. The tracks taken from different shows: Madison, Boston, Uniondale, New York, Durham, The Motley Crue, Smoke It in the Boys' Room, Home Sweet Home, picture disc. 2,500 copies of this. The version of Home Sweet Home is the remix from the Greatest Hits album, which is when the song really actually gained its the most amount of traction on the radio. Dolores O'Riordan. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't think you can say it right if you don't know how to say it in Celtic. 2,100 copies of this transparent violet color vinyl pressing, exclusively for Record Store Day 2025. 12-inch vinyl drop, Leave a Light On, Talk Away the Dark from Papa Roach. 1,200 copies. Several different versions of this, including the version with Carrie Underwood. There's a live track. It's 6 tracks on blue heart-colored vinyl. iRobot, A Work in Progress. 2,000 copies. This is an LP set, 180-gram heavyweight blue vinyl. Early and rough and alternate mixes of the album's 10 tracks, making their first appearance on vinyl. Bossa Nova, Trompe la Mode, live from Europe 2023 from Pixies. A 2-LP set, limited to 3,000 copies from Demon Records. Rhino's dropping first issue from Public Image Limited, John Lydon's band after leaving the Sex Pistols. This originally came out in 1979. It didn't come out everywhere in the world. So this is kind of a neat thing to track down. 5,500 copies. On 12-inch vinyl, Delaine Leia Demos, Queen. This is a 12-inch vinyl, 5,000 copies from Hollywood. This is stuff recorded in 1971 and 1972. Rhino's dropping Loco Live from the Ramones, their second live album. A couple of shows recorded in 1991 in Spain. This is on 140-gram 2LP blue and red vinyl. And who doesn't want to have this on vinyl? Metal Machine Music from Lou Reed. Love it or hate it, at least listen to it one time. This is the 50th anniversary of Metal Machine Music. It's on metallic silver vinyl, of course. Tim from The Replacements, Rhino's dropping 6,000 copies of a 2LP transparent purple vinyl set, including 1 LP of the 2023 remaster of the album mix, and the Ed Stasium mix from the critically acclaimed Let It Bleed edition box set. Keith Richards and the Expensive Winos, live March 10th, 22. I think this is recorded in 1922. That's a Keith Richards' very old joke. 1,300 copies from BMG. It's 3 tracks on 12-inch red vinyl with an etching on the B-side. Rhino's dropping 3,500 copies of the double LP set, Initiation, from Todd Rundgren. 67-minute album, which featured a 36-minute instrumental. Look for this 2LP colored vinyl set on translucent blue vinyl. The Tweethin' mix of Tweez from Slint. That's not something you want to try to say quickly, as a limited edition standalone LP on 180-gram green vinyl with art layout from Jeremy Devine. After the Flood, live from the Grand Forks Prom, June 28th, 1997. It's a double LP set from Soul Asylum, 3,500 copies from Legacy on 2LP black vinyl. It's a picture disc of We Built This City from Starship. 5,000 copies, 12-inch picture disc. The regular version, an instrumental version of Private Room, and the special club mix of We Built This City. You will hear it once and decide that you probably should open a club. This is a 2LP set, Stone Temple Pilots, live in New Haven, 1994. This was recorded at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, or I'm sure they probably call it in New Haven, at the Vet. This was just after Purple was released, so it's really almost a best of, considering it's taking basically a lot of the tracks from their first 2 albums. This is dropping on a 2 LP Purple vinyl set. Sweet! Desolation Boulevard, 50th anniversary, live and demos. Sound City Records is dropping this album. And this is live cuts and demo cuts of the tracks from the album. Fox on the Run's on there. Live on Tour 78. This is another one of those promo releases that went to radio, recorded at the Agora in Cleveland. Rhino's dropping 8,000 copies of this on a 2 LP set cut at 45 RPM, so you'll have to flip it over a lot, which is totally cool. This is a great show. If you're a Talking Heads fan, you got to have this. So there's a limited vinyl release of Reel to Reel. Tesla fans love this album. If you're sort of a lukewarm Tesla fan, you might want to check this out, and it might take you to a whole new level. It's on 180-gram vinyl in a dual gatefold package, and the band is going to tour. A lot of covers on this. All the Young Dudes, War Pigs, Saturday Night Special, Street Fighting Man, an alternate version of Jailbreak from Tin Lizzy, 6,000 copies dropping from Mercury. These are the alternate versions which were originally included in the 1976 box set. On blue and black marble effect vinyl, and released for the first time ever in a mono mix, it's the 13th Floor Elevators, Houston Music Theater Live, 1967. Another live album, this from 80s synth pop act Thompson Twins, Into the Gap, live, a 2 LP set from BMG on turquoise and yellow double vinyl. This was originally released on VHS, but not on physical media at the time. Welcome Home, live at the Arlington Theater, Santa Barbara, 1992. This is Toad the Wet Sprocket at their peak. 2,000 copies from Legacy, a movie you've probably forgotten about, but you remember just about all of the music that was featured. Van Halen, Hendrix, The Cars, a lot of Cheap Trick songs. Rhino's dropping 3,000 copies of this for Record Store Day. Couple of recent Eddie Vedder covers, Save It for Later and Room at the Top. This is on an Ocean Floor color vinyl variant, 12-inch single. It's the 20th anniversary of The Secret Life of the Veronicas. Rhino's dropping 2,000 copies of this. This is a limited edition 3-song 10-inch on orange vinyl. Everybody Have Fun Tonight by Wang Chung. This is a couple of remixes, a live cut, and also the song Fire in the Twilight, a live recording of that. I Know It's Too Late from former STP Velvet Revolver frontman Scott Weiland, 1,200 copies. A previously unreleased song, I Know It's Too Late, is a bonus track from his 2008 solo album Happy in Galoshes. The B-side is a live version of the first single from that album, Missing Cleveland. It's a 7-inch on orange vinyl. I don't know exactly what it is that you consider Wire to be. Are they a punk band or a new wave band, art pop band? They have covered a lot of territory in their career so far. 9 Sevens, recorded 1977 to 1980. This is a 2 LP set. Pink Flag is dropping 1,200 copies. This was previously released as a 7-inch box set, reissuing the original singles. Ronnie Wood, live at Electric Ladyland, 1,800 copies from BMG on turquoise color vinyl. This is a special, fully remastered live recording. This is exactly what it says it is. Live at the Rainbow, London, England. I'm going to guess that means December 16th, 1972, because it really can't be the 12th day of the 16th month. Ha! You thought you were going to get me, European calendar keepers. 3 LPs from Rhino, 3,500 copies. And Piano Fighter, The Giant Years from Warren Zevon. This is a 4 LP set from Rhino. Let's run through the limited run regional focus releases. I just want to go ahead and warn you, if you want any of these, don't take it personally if they don't show up in Dubuque or Minot, North Dakota. Anyway, I don't really know what towns are the most likely towns to take things personally. So here we go. The Blasters. This is dropping on a 5 LP set. The complete studio recordings, 1979 through 1985. The Blasters were sort of a psychobilly or a cowpunk band, I think maybe one might say. This is one of those albums that rocks. 1,000 copies on Earache from Carcass. Redrawn artwork by artist Wayne Nichols, who has done a lot of Marvel comics. It's on translucent green color vinyl. This is the Liverpool death metal band Carcass. This is not the band Carcass that goes around playing county fairs doing covers of songs by the Wiggles. 19 songs recorded live in the studio on a long night in 1999. Rolling Stone called it one of his most committed performances. On Sunburst Splash Vinyl for Record Store Day 2025, it's Set from Alex Chilton. Remixes of tracks from Youthquake, which basically means a lot of remixes of You Spin Me Round. The Pete Burns fronted band Dead or Alive celebrate the 40th anniversary of Youthquake with this LP pressed on 140-gram purple vinyl, or translucent blue color vinyl. Flotsam and Jetsam High. This originally dropped in the early mid-90s. This is the first time that you can get High on vinyl. Although if you lean in real close and sniff when they're making the albums. On transparent orange vinyl, it's The House of Love. This is the band's original compilation of singles and B-sides. This has never before been reissued. If you can find a copy from 1987, some bonus tracks here too, which were never issued on vinyl. Suede, or The London Suede, depending on what part of the earth you're buying this record on. 2 LPs, 500 pressings, that's it. Sci-Fi Lullabies Volume 2 is a newly curated compilation of B-sides, curated by frontman Brett Anderson. It is an exclusive to RSD 2025. You won't be able to find this everywhere. I'm guessing since it's being billed as the London Suede, this might be something you can't get in the UK, but that's just a guess. Oh man, once upon a time I did love me some The Mission, and I still think The Mission's pretty good. 1,000 copies, a double LP set, Neverland. It also includes unreleased tracks, B-sides, live tracks. It's pressed on 140-gram translucent red vinyl. The band is currently touring the US, Canada, and Europe. This double LP set features an hour of unreleased bonus material, the first-time vinyl remaster of this 1985 album, Crashing Dream from Rain Parade, on blue and transparent blue vinyl. So this is the third in a series of leftovers reissues, tracks that are, as they say, long lost but recently rediscovered tapes covering the band's work from the 1980s. Being as that's called Volume 3, the name of the album is Leftovers Again? Again? I'm serious, that's the name of the album. See, look, again, question marks and again and stuff in parentheses, and I'm really not sure what's on that album cover. I hope there are enough copies of this that land in the UK, because this band was never really sufficiently appreciated in the Western Hemisphere, I guess I should say. It's Wheels of Steels from Saxon. It's the 45th anniversary edition of this album. It's on red and blue color vinyl exclusively for this release. How do you feel about the Struts? Are you familiar with this band? They kind of rock in that classic rock kind of way. I have mixed feelings about the band. They felt like celebrating the 50th anniversary of Bad Company, who I believe are finally, or maybe again, nominated to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. This is a band-sanctioned first ever tribute to the band Bad Company. It's their cover of Rock and Roll Fantasy on a 7-inch single, 1,000 copies from Primary Wave. It's a limited edition white 7-inch vinyl, by the way, so that's kind of cool. Now we get to the RSD First release section. This is the 1984 demos of Hunting High and Low from Norwegian synth-pop band Aha. It's a crystal clear vinyl pressing of the full album. Features the demo of Take On Me, demos of The Sun Always Shines on TV, 3,000 copies from Rhino, Tanya Donnelly's band Belly, which had a kind of a short run in the early to mid-90s. Their second album, King, is dropping from Rhino. It's on green vinyl. It's available in North America. I believe this was the third album the band dropped on Elektra in the late 90s, I think in 1998. How Does Your Garden Grow? 2,500 copies on Orange Crush vinyl. At the Stars was from this album. One More Murder was on this album. Underappreciated New Orleans band, who are still making music, by the way. 6,000 copies from Rhino of The Eternal Idol from Black Sabbath. The Shining was on this album. This originally dropped in 1987, the band's 13th album. Look for this on 180-gram translucent vinyl. I think this was the first album which featured Tony Martin on vocals. You know, one thing about the records that you pick up on Record Store Day is you will often, no matter what you think of it, you will lie awake sometimes all night wondering if the band themselves, really like the album. with this album, you don't have to worry about that. 750 copies from Mascot of Blackstone Cherries. This is Blackstone Cherries' RSD album. The band really likes it. B-sides, covers, live tracks, previously unreleased songs from the band's discography, and they've been around a little while. Lizzie Hale is on this. There's a cover of What's Love Got to Do With It. Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage. Aaron Jones. A lot of cool guest stars. Mostly live tracks. And Blackstone Cherry, I think they're a pretty decent band. Blue Cheer, one of those bands that some people think invented heavy metal. I don't know if I'd go that far. 7 studio covers from the 90s, a live recording of Summertime Blues from 2008 on blue and silver splatter vinyl. Blender from Collective Soul. This album dropped, I believe, in 2000 or 2001. There's a collab with Elton John on this album that people had some mixed feelings about. Cop Shoot Cop was a noise rock band founded in the 1980s. They broke up in the 1990s. Noise rock, industrial rock. Well, they were different. And this is the first time their 1990 debut studio album has been released on vinyl since 1992, with 15% more hate. So you're getting your money's worth there. Deicide. This is one of those death metal bands that if you're really, really into death metal, you know about Deicide. If you don't, well, it's the 30th anniversary of Once Upon a Cross, and this is your chance to get to know the band with one of their better albums. Eden's Children is one of those late 60s psychedelic fuzz rock bands that have kind of been lost to the annals of time. This is the first official reissue of this album from 1968 on frosted green vinyl. I'm not sure why I'm mentioning this exactly. It's just the soundtrack to The Serpent and the Rainbow. Wes Craven's Voodoo Zombie Classic. Fields of the Nephilim. This is their studio album from 2002. It was remastered last year, the first time on vinyl for 9 years, so maybe a little hard to find that. There's a live disc, a bonus disc, that's never before released on vinyl. This is on transparent yellow vinyl. OVO from Peter Gabriel. It's a 2 LP set, 1 blue vinyl LP and 1 orange vinyl LP. 3,000 copies. This is dropping from Real World. On Yellow Smoke vinyl, the first time Guttermouth's 5th studio album has been issued on vinyl since 1999. It's Gorgeous from Guttermouth. King James version, the 25th anniversary. This is the deluxe edition from Harvey Danger. 2 LPs, 1,000 copies on colored vinyl. This is the first time that the band has ever released this album on vinyl. The music on this release was originally written and performed by Scott Ian from Anthrax and Brendan Small from Metalocalypse and Death Clock for a pinball machine. Colored vinyl to match the non-stop shred fest contained within. It's all instrumental, 1,200 copies. 5,000 copies of Live from the Rainbow Theater with Ray Cooper. It's a Record Store Day release from Elton John. Show recorded in 1977, 5,000 copies. On October 1st, 2022, Bruce Springsteen and the Killers were on the same stage and performed together. Badlands, Dustland, Born to Run. This is a limited edition 12-inch featuring 3 tracks, one-take radio sessions from Mark Knopfler. 3,000 copies, 6 live tracks, each recorded in a single take, available for the first time on vinyl on 180-gram black vinyl. The Lemonheads in Dreamland, 800 copies from Fire Records. Great place to take a nap. No one ever looks under the board. Not Indoor Safari, Volume 1. This is from Nick Lowe, 2,000 copies on classic black vinyl. Man, if you don't know about the Meters, this is as good a chance as any to learn about them. On Mardi Gras, colored vinyl. This is their 1975 lineup. Bootleg Detroit from Morphine, one of the most unheralded bands of the 90s. 3,500 copies from Rhino. This was recorded during their 1994 Cure for Pain tour, which probably was about their best-known era. This is on translucent, milky clear vinyl. Time flies, 1994 to 2009. This is a best-of package from Oasis. It's available for the first time on vinyl since it was originally pressed in 2010. 15,000 numbered copies. 4 colored LPs. It's being billed as the band's entire singles collection, but Champagne Supernova is not on this album. That doesn't seem right to me. Vicky Peterson from the Bangles and John Cowsill from the Cowsills and the Beach Boys. This is a deluxe vinyl edition of a fairly new album on transparent blue-green vinyl. The early years 2008 to 2010 from Pond. 1,700 copies. This will be pressed on Mango Vision vinyl. Live on Tour 1993 from Rage Against the Machine. 2 LPs from Legacy Records. 3 sides of music, and one of those cool sides that just has an etching on it. Really cool etching, I'm sure. Come on. It's Rage we're talking about here. You think Tom Morello would let something uncool be on a Rage reissue? Tom Morello's pretty cool. LP from the Rembrandts. This is a 2 LP pressing, 1,400 copies from Omnivore. This is the 30th anniversary of LP. I'll Be There For You, the theme from Friends, is on this. It's a double LP, like I said. It's on opaque yellow vinyl. Nod from Rise Against. This is a song that's out right now. This is a 7-inch vinyl. Their first new music in 3 years. This was originally released in the United States through London Records in 1965. It was the band's 4th American album. A lot of you probably know a lot of those bands, the releases were not synchronous or the same in the UK and in the US with the Stones and the Beatles, and this happened to a lot of bands. The US version included I Can't Get No Satisfaction. This is on 180-gram clear vinyl with a lithograph print. It is mastered directly from the original first-generation analog mono album master tape. Cool. Todd Rundgren, the Arena Tour live. This is dropping on Cleopatra. 1,000 copies, a 2 LP set. Dave Stewart. This is actually a brand new album covering Bob Dylan songs. Dave Stewart. The Eurythmics, Dave Stewart. 1,100 copies from Surf Dog Records. Sting 3.0 Live. This is a 2 LP set. Sting basically has formed sort of a new band, a new trio. Check this out on a limited edition 180-gram deluxe 2 LP set. 17 total tracks. Bolin B-Sides. This is from T-Rex. 1,200 copies on Demon Records. Midnight Blue color vinyl. A lot of B-sides, a lot of bonus tracks. This is a rare live set from Throwing Muses. This was recorded in Providence in the winter of 1992. It came out right before, or it was recorded right before the release of their Red Heaven album. The 10th anniversary edition of Positive Songs for Negative People. Frank Turner's just so cool. It's just how it is. This is a new exclusive Record Store Day 2025 release, a limited edition 2 LP set on blue and red vinyl. There's a second bonus LP, which contains the Mittens EP. A lot of B-sides available for the first time on vinyl and the previously unreleased original Hamburg demos. Frank Turner is awesome, just deal with it. The 30th anniversary edition of original soundtracks from Passengers. This is sort of the long since forgotten U2 album. It's actually sort of a collaborative U2 Brian Eno album. Songs that were written for imaginary films, except Ghost in the Shell. And Luciano Pavarotti's on this album. You don't already have this? This is pressed on recycled black vinyl. Voyager 1 from The Verve. It is officially being described as a pseudo bootleg. I love the irony there. It was a band-endorsed official recording designed to look like an unofficial, not band-endorsed recording. Very small amount of copies, very hard to find, but now you can. Get Behind the Mule, Spiritual, from Tom Waits. This is a 7-inch vinyl, a previously unheard rendition of the song Get Behind the Mule. You know how I said Frank Turner's cool, just deal with it? Tom Waits is cool, just deal with it. Getting close to the end here. The Lost Tapes live from Wall of Voodoo. This is post-Stan Ridgway Wall of Voodoo era stuff. Stan had already dropped The Big Heat, and then this band was moved on beginning the year after that. This is on transparent red and transparent orange vinyl. It's 2-disc set, so it alternates. And last, and I really kind of want to say least, Roger Waters is dropping The Dark Side of the Moon Redux live. This is on a limited edition neon pink vinyl. It's from the 2 sold-out shows at the London Palladium in October of 2023. This is the only live performance that Waters did for this album. I don't know if this is going to be a better live album experience than it was as a studio album. I know that people generally had pretty negative feelings about what Waters did. Me too, but I will at least try to say on the positive side of that, or to try to put some sort of positive spin on it. At least he didn't do a note-for-note remake of the 1973 Pink Floyd album. So that's not the complete list. That's just the list as I see it. If you are more of a rock, alternative, new wave, blues, metal kind of person. And do you really need for me to tell you that there's some sort of Taylor Swift thing going to happen on Record Store Day? No. I rest my case. Reach out to your favorite local independent record store. You can go to recordstoreday.com and you can find out a list. You can put in whatever state you live in or whatever city you live in, and you can find the nearest record stores that are participating in Record Store Day 2025. I hope you find some things that you want. This is the best list that I've seen in several years, so if I had a stupid budget I would easily spend over $1,000 on this stuff this year. Anyway, if you're new to the channel and you've never seen what it is that I normally do, right up here is one of my weekly episodes where I give you new updates every week, not just for Record Store Day. Thank you for watching.